So
Is there anything else? I don't think so. Do the Hydra heads? How long is that supposed to take?
I don't know. How long does it take to stuff an animal?
I have no idea. I know the stripping for parts probably wouldn't take very long, but the stuffing an animal, it seems like it might take a while.
Yeah. Is it days or is it weeks?
3 ways to do taxidermy, WikiHow. Boy.
Let's see.
my bet would be on days, otherwise the thing would start decomposing.
Yeah, you probably have to do it kind of quick.
So you need to place the skin flesh side down on a generous coating of borax inside of a shoebox and sprinkle a 1/4 inch more borax on the top of the feathers, leaving in a cool and dark, dry location for about 4 days. The flesh will be quite stiff after you move the borax. Brush off the excess and your bird or skin. Okay, so it looks like you just need to skin it and then coat it in crap and then leave it for a few days. So let's say a week to stuff a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
So after you pick that up.
Yes, you can pick that up in a week.
Okay. How well is it done? Does it seem look pretty good?
Ooh, no. It's not the most terrifying Hydra head you've ever seen before. It's the guy didn't do so good on his taxidermy check. Natural 4. So it's clearly a Hydra. It's just not super intimidating. You know, it's like if you've maybe the snout's a little bumpy. The face is kind of missing some of the detail.
Yeah, maybe Luther will just put it in his chest. And what do we get from the other 2 Hydra heads being basically stripped for parts?
That's a good question.
I don't really know what the valuable things they would take off a Hydra head is.
Well, everything off a Hydra would be valuable for like showmanship, right? There's no Hydra parts that are usable for anything. So it's, for sale stuff. Like you could sell Hydra teeth, you could sell Hydra eyes, or whatever. You could get Hydra skin and wrap it around a shield.
Does this guy know how to make a weapon out of bone?
I mean, he could make some.
You could have like a Hydra tooth dagger or something.
Yeah, you could.
Get a bunch of Hydra fang throwing daggers.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, those could be made, definitely.
I think that's what I'm going to do with the teeth then. I don't know. Is there someone in town that could do that?
Sure. There's like someone who deals with animal carcasses and making things out of them that can help you.
Because I am kind of low on throwing daggers.
Sure. I think throwing daggers themselves...
They have to be made somewhere else.
By a weaponsmith, right? It's all about the balance for those things.
Yeah.
So you could get standard daggers.
Yeah, I can throw regular daggers, but I throw 2 around instead of 1, and they do D4 instead of D3, which isn't that bad, but the range is also a lot lower. And the caravan is gone by the time this is done, I think.
Yeah.
Can I give them, give a guy one of my throwing daggers to compare, and maybe it'll help him out?
No, you gotta have a weapon smithing proficiency to make balanced throwing daggers.
Okay. I'll just have him make regular daggers then.
Okay.
Just in case. Maybe I'll have him use half of them. And I'll keep the other half for when the caravan's in town.
What? How many teeth are in a Hydra's skull?
Quite the good question.
Probably 4 fangs in each head, I would have to guess.
You mean it's not like a T-Rex or something? It doesn't have like thousands of teeth. Thousands, an overstatement.
I was just thinking of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to have 4 big ones, like the equivalent of our canines. I'm just going to say it's got as many teeth as a human does. And how many teeth do humans have?
I have no idea.
That should be an easily Googleable thing.
A normal adult mouth has 32 teeth.
Okay, so each Hydra mouth has 32 teeth. You've got 2. So that's 64 teeth that can be made into bones.
Nice.
Or into stabbies.
Carrying around 32 Hydra tooth daggers. It's like a lot. I'll just give him 20 and have him make 20 Hydra tooth daggers just to put in my chest and be like, well, that's a lot.
Okay.
So they do Hydra bite damage, right?
They do half Hydra bite damage. D4.
Okay. It's pretty nice. So yeah, I guess that's it now. And we're just gonna. That took a week, so we'll rest another week to get to full health.
Okay.
And when does Cal Reginald get conscious? That's probably after a week, right?
Yeah, it takes him a week to recover, but then he's not only low on HP, but he hasn't eaten anything in a week at that point. So he'll, once he also has to regain HP and regain his strength. It's a long process for him.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what is your plan? There are so many things for you to do.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well, first things first, I guess. Now that Cal Reginald is alive, I'm gonna tell him that we need more militia. Do we have 4 or 5 left?
4.
Okay, so we need 6 more guys, if possible.
And 6 new suits of armor and 12 new spears and.
We have about 1,000 spears after Ginger died, so I think we can.
Right. Well,
Not the spears, but the armor.
As
Yes.
soon as I get on my feet, my lord, I'll see to the armor and new fresh recruits. I'm not sure if it's going to be harder or easier to find people after that Hydra fight.
I was wondering about that too.
Well, it's a fickle town. It's a fickle people. You never know what's going to inspire the masses or terrify them.
Well, make sure to take your time. Get healthy.
Yes.
So I guess now we still have socialites that kind of are keeping up to date on the Green Dolls doing. So I'll ask someone if Kelrugsman Greendoll's still in town.
No, he has left back to Darbloon by now.
Okay. What's the town with the crypts?
That you guys went into?
Yeah.
That is. Gotta open up my map. That was Rosebloom, I believe. Or Sketch, one of the two. I don't remember which one.
I think it was Rose. Yeah, it definitely was Rosebloom.
That's the most familiar name to me.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever even been to Sketch yet. So we have. That's something Luther's thinking about. Just going and raiding more crypts.
Well, we could also start putting the word out ourselves for more militia with town criers, message boards, that sort of thing.
We could. There is something that's like an idea in my head, but I haven't really fully formed it yet. I've been thinking about like getting because we have the tabards for our militia with the rose painted on it. I was thinking of a way to like paint a Hydra on it too, and I'm not sure of like a reasonable design. It'd be strange just to have like rose Hydra head.
You could go halfway and just have it be 8 roses.
That's quite a good idea, Arthur. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get new tabards for the guards that survived and have like 8 roses in a circle.
With a Hydra head in the middle, or just 8 roses in a circle?
That's an idea.
Isn't that what Arthur said?
He said just 8 roses.
Yeah,
I could have
Yeah,
sworn
just
you said
8
something about a
roses.
Hydra.
No,
Yeah.
I said let's go halfway and just do 8 roses.
Okay. All right, 8 roses can be done.
Yeah. And I think common tabards were like a silver each or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want them embroidered with the roses, it's going to be a little bit more.
I always have them. Yeah, let's go embroidered. Screw it. I think those are 1 gold with embroidery.
Yeah.
Where's my money sheet? What is this? Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, so we have that done. We could go to Nixon. I guess that's what Arthur wants to do. I'm gonna
Yep.
wait on the swamp thing until we have more guards, I think. Now that the Hydra's gone, I assume there's not another Hydra. That would suck.
It's an entire
guess we-
family of Hydras.
That's a good idea. So, yeah, let's go talk to the Muckers and just see if they have any idea of a Hydra lair.
Okay. You poke around town, find where the Muckers hang out. It's at one of the bars in the north side of town. They tend to hang out at the Puddle Maker.
Okay.
Get the map up. Over here. Right near the destroyed part of the wall.
Yeah.
So the 2 of you walk into the Puddle Maker together?
Yeah. And I'll be all decked out and...
Yep.
I don't know about wearing my armor. That seems a bit much. But I'll have
Sure.
my nice tabard on. And I guess it's still kind of winter, so I'll wear my fur cloak.
Sure. You are in the tavern. There are people, including muckers, all over the place. They see you coming in, and people's voices go down for a moment as they watch to see if you're about to, come conscript somebody or something.
Well, if their voices go down, I guess I'll take the opportunity to say, anybody in here know anything about a Hydra den?
Let's see. A woman near the bar gives you a wave with a hand.
Okay, I'll head on over. Sit down next-
She smells like slime and mold and moss and wet farts. It's a very
Yeah,
unpleasant aroma, kind of.
I recognize that smell from
Yeah.
having sat around the swamp.
Well, what would you be looking for with a Hydra den, my lord?
Well, we slayed the Hydra, so figured we'd go inspect its den, see what's around, make sure there's not any dead bodies or other Hydras. I don't know.
Well, no living soul can tell you exactly where it is. At least, no living human soul.
I figured that might be the case. You have an idea?
It's long been rumored amongst us that the Hydra lives closer to the mountains. Needs some sort of place to call home, No self-respecting Hydra would just sleep in the middle of a swamp, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
If you got to have some home, it's got to be big enough where a Hydra can fit inside of it. So that means somewhere in the hills or maybe out in the woods.
So you're thinking a cave out there?
Mm-hmm. Whenever the Hydra's been spotted, it's always been spotted in the east. So the thinking is it's not from the Blackthorn Forest, but somewhere in the, eastern 2/3 of the swamp. Considering
we ended up fighting it in the western third, I believe, but certainly could be. I think it was approaching from the east, if I remember correctly, but no.
It's
So you don't think anybody's found this hydrogen before, actually gone inside?
I'm sure a few people have found it. I don't think any of them have ever come out of it alive.
Yes, well, I'm surprised we came out of there alive after meeting it. Well, anything else interesting you've heard about out in the swamps? Just wondering. And I'll kind of plink a gold down in front of her.
You didn't happen to leave any of your friends out there, did you? Any of your siblings or soldiers or nothing?
Not any living ones.
You left the dead, though, huh?
Yes, there are a few soldiers that we couldn't take back.
Well, one of these days we're going to see them walking around. Anything that dies out there has a tendency not to stay dead for too long.
I feared that. But what about the Hydra?
That's the 600 gold question. 600 GP question.
Yeah, I don't think it can do much without any of its heads, but
Well, we left
it would be
5 out
scary.
there.
Well, you've seen people walking out there with an axe still lodged in their skull. That sort of thing ain't natural.
It's a strange place. By chance, you ever heard about the Moss Man?
Oh. Legend says that he lives in the forest, on the swampier side of it. Covers himself
looking
in
for him.
ferns and green paint. Smells like earth.
Yeah, we looked for him one time, couldn't find him. Wondering if you knew anything about where, any more specific
I've
location.
seen him once or twice before. Don't
Covers
know
himself.
where he lives, but I definitely seen him. He ain't no legend. He's a living and breathing man.
Well, really? Well, where'd you see him?
Right up near the edge of the forest. There's a patch of old stone road out in the swamp from back in the olden days. We were out hanging near that patch, taking a break for lunch, maybe 3 weeks ago, when the Moss Man come out of the woods, starts picking up things all over the ground. Nothing valuable, nothing worth taking, mind you. Just a leaf from this thing here, a different leaf from a same type of plant a little further over. Real weird stuff. Very particular about the things. Took maybe 3 minutes of examining a bush before he plucked a single leaf from it and moved on. Bizarre creature. Probably a little mad.
Seems like it might be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's it. I appreciate your help.
You be careful if you're looking for him, my lord. A man like him, well, he ain't naturally deranged, That's what happens when you meddle with the dark arts.
Well, I suppose if I ever find him, I guess I'll know for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your time.
I appreciate the gold.
I nod and walk out.
Okay.
Arthur, I feel like looking for this Moss Man again.
Not the Hydra Den?
Well, I suppose we could look for the Hydra Den. That seems a bit deeper into the swamp, though. Maybe a bit dangerous. So, I suppose we could take Annis and Jacob. They survive.
Alright. And if we are a smaller group, it would be a little easier. We could hide instead of trying to fight anything.
Certainly would.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll make it a little adventure. Go out towards the Moss Man and go looking for a Hydra Den. So we'll have to see. And do I know where Annis and Jacob live?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, you probably don't know their actual house, but you have ways of getting in touch with them. Those things are left to the squires and servants and lesser people.
Yeah, well, I'll ride back to the house and tell someone to go fetch Annis and Jacob. Tell them to gear up.
Oh, you know what? We should have asked her if there was some equipment or something we could get to make it moving around in the swamp easier. Seems like that's something she would know.
That's a good point.
I guess there's only so much you can do about thick water, but maybe there's some tricks. Go a little bit faster.
Well, I guess we'll go back and ask in a few moments. Seems worthwhile. Do I have an idea of how long it would take Annis and Jacob to gear up and get ready to
Half hour?
run around? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll wait at the house for them. I'll get my armor on and all that. Get Vinny ready. Maybe I'll have Arthur get Vinny ready because I don't know how to get the horses ready.
We're taking the horses out into the swamp.
Well, won't hurt. And if we really need to get out of there, especially if we're in the woods, might be helpful.
All right.
And I guess we'll leave poor Majestic behind.
Oh.
No, Blackberry's the good horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys gear up with two of your 4 surviving soldiers.
Yeah.
Head out of town in the direction of the swamp, looking for the Moss Man.
Yeah, I
Mythical
think first
Moss Man.
stop off at the Puddle Maker though. And I'll look for that woman again.
Okay. You find her in the same spot now with a lot more friends and talking quite happily. They see you come in, and there's a quick cheer that goes up, but you see her kind of like waving her hand, and it dies back down again.
Okay, I'll head over there and say one more thing that I forgot to ask. Is there any way to move quicker in the swamp? We get bogged down out there a lot. I don't know.
Bogged down. Good one, my lord. Bogged down. Well, there ain't real secret to moving in the swamp any faster. You just stick to the high ground and get to know the place real well. Maybe you could paddle around in a boat. Not very deep water, mind you. A lot of places you'd have to drag it over.
Just a second, guys. I have to go answer my door. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, I figured as much. It's not as if you can wear snowshoes or anything like that. Well, I appreciate your time once again, and I leave another gold and run out.
As you walk out, there's a cheer going up from within inside the tavern.
Feels good to throw money away. Okay, so I guess now we are looking for the Moss Man. I guess the way to do it would be to kind of skirt the edge of the forest for a while.
Okay.
And look for that patch of snow road, maybe. Who knows?
All right. Let's take a look at our encounter table.
Do I encounter any poisonous plants?
Yes, there are lots of poison. Don't you have some in your greenhouse?
I have healing. I have the stuff for healing poultices in the greenhouse, but I don't think I have any poisonous plants.
Excellent. All right, well, let's check the poisonous plant registry.
Oh,
Ooh, lucky day.
Ooh.
Mm.
Yes. As you're moving through, you find is this? Oh god, I never know how to pronounce this thing.
Yeah, I see what you're
Hell.
looking at.
This-
Quarai.
Quarai?
Quarai.
Quarai, I think.
Sounds about right.
Damn it! Only returns Vietnamese results. I don't know. Maybe I haven't misspelled. Quarai. It is a non-deadly plant. Its poison is fairly debilitating. An appropriate dosage can knock a man out for about a day. Depending on how well their body handles it, they could be completely incapacitated or just debilitated. It's one of those things that you have to ingest. You have to eat it or make it into some sort of tea or somehow infuse the toxins from it into something that gets eaten.
Yeah.
But when it acts quickly. It takes up to, like 5 minutes to enter the bloodstream and just wreck a person.
Nice. Is there like with my herbalism knowledge, do I think I could like uproot the plant, the whole thing, and like go back and plant it in the greenhouse?
Totally, yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna do then. I uproot the whole plant, put it in my backpack.
You now have a something plant in your backpack.
Nice.
I suppose you could hear that when Google tried to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay. That was nice.
Curare.
Or is it Curare?
Curare.
I don't know.
Are there
Difficult
any?
to pronounce.
Well, I suppose you'd tell me if there were, but I'm specifically on the lookout for poisonous frogs, I think.
Mmm.
That
Those
looks
little guys are deadly as shit, and they're also really small. They're like
Yeah.
the size of your thumb. So they're hard to find. They're brightly colored, and they are unpleasant.
Yeah, it looks quite unpleasant.
Yes, it's a contact poison that can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll find one of those someday. I'll have Arthur try to tame it, and it'll jump up and lick his face or something, and it'll die.
Yeah.
Do you know how those frogs apply their poison?
Mostly,
Is it on their skin?
yeah. Mostly, how it works is it's on their skin, and then when something eats them, it dies.
Oh,
So it discourages predators from eating them.
Mm-hmm.
fun. Okay. Well, maybe the frog people have some little frog friends that are poisonous.
Okay, so you head out in search of this mythical moss man.
Yes.
You're skirting along the edge of the forest near the swamp. Where is my encounter table? You guys are all at full HP, right?
Yeah.
What I thought.
Yeep.
Perfect. I'm
I
going to
guess-
throw big monsters at you.
I guess we're just walking our horses. So Annis and Jacob are walking in front.
Mm-hmm.
Seems legit. Maybe they're walking at the sides.
Okay. So as you're walking along that edge, I should probably get some swamp music going on here. You hear this kind of low croaking sound, like a big fat toad except a huge fat toad, like, it's echoing as if you've got like a toad with a megaphone.
Does it sound like the toad that was mad at me when I was trying to
No,
be friends with it?
no, it doesn't. Actually, no, it does sound exactly like that. Yes, yes.
No. Arthur. Arthur, it's another one of those frogs. I hear it. And I guess I'm
one of the
sitting
big
on my
ones.
horse, looking around. You can't see it anywhere.
Give me perception checks, please.
That's not a 12. It should be a 21 since it's plus 12.
21 is a pass. Arthur, do you have a higher than 21? Not quite. All right.
Nope.
So, Luther, you don't quite see it, but you can hear the direction it's coming from. And it's coming from the northeast, not from the forest, but from a little deeper into the swamp.
Do I have any kind of judge of how far away it is?
Probably no farther than a few hundred feet.
Arthur, can you make a frog noise?
Well, I can try. I don't think I'll convince it I'm a frog, though.
Yeah, I suppose if you're not that good at it, it's not worth trying. Are there any trees nearby?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'll hop off the horse and tie Vinny to it, and I'll kind of motion Arthur to do the same and then go ahead of me towards the frog.
Okay, yeah. I hop off my horse and tie it to the same tree. And then try to sneak forward.
What is your move silently check?
That is a great question. It is 38.
Okay. All right, you creep forward through the swamp, looking for something. Being as quiet as you can, you around this thicker area where there's a large boulder that's kind of seemingly out of place with some bushes around it. And as you peer your head around the other side, you come face to face with a giant beetle. The beetle's maybe like 3 feet high, 4 feet long, and sitting on top of it is a heavily clothed frog.
Oh.
Why do I not have handouts? Oh, maybe it's because it's... No. Okay. I just need to get... Okay. Shit's all fucked up. Here we go. Looks like that.
Oh, that's great. Okay, do I see it too?
Awesome.
No, just Arthur.
Okay.
And I'm right next to it.
Yeah, you come around this, and you're looking at the front of this big horned beetle staring right at you. The frogman is dressed in these heavy clothes that sag all around him. He's got a stick in his arm, resting it over his shoulder, and he waves a 3-fingered hand at you and says, "Hello."
Okay, I'm a bit startled by this, so I stumble a few steps back, and it looks like he's not going to attempt to spear me to death. So I cautiously wave back at him and say, "Hello, Luther."
I'll hold my hand up back to Annis and Jacob so they don't try and spear the frog. And we're kind of around what was it, a boulder or a tree?
Mm-hmm. It's a really big boulder. It's like 15 feet across, and there's nothing else like that anywhere around here. It's kind of an oddity.
Okay, so I round the boulder, and I think I'm a little bit surprised, and then I smile and wave at the frogman.
He waves his 3-fingered hand at you again.
Greetings, Mr. Frog. What's your name? Do you have a name?
not something your people can pronounce,
Fair enough.
but you may call me traitor.
Okay. I suppose that means you have things to trade.
Ow.
It
He
might be.
dismounts his beetle and starts to open the big leather bags that are on the back of the beetle, pulling out from it a series of human skulls.
That's interesting.
What?
Mhm.
Uh,
He takes the first one, comes over and opens its jaw towards you, showing gold fillings in its teeth.
Where
What?
did you find this?
Dead men.
I see. Did you happen to hear about or notice that the Hydra of the Swamp was killed? And I kind of 8 heads, big, scary.
6? I
8? I hold up 8 fingers. Yeah, if he says 8 like that, that's what I do. I go 8.
Okay. Dead?
Dead. Do you know where that lives?
The frog slowly nods his head. Dangerous.
What's dangerous? What's there?
8 heads.
Head's dead. I take out my horn and I show it to him. I say, "Have you ever found one of these special?"
He goes into his bag and pulls out one of the, like, you see this big thing on the front of the beetle, this big horn sticking out of it. He pulls out one of those from his pack.
That's interesting. Not the same though. So I put the horn up to my mouth and I don't blow into it, but I say, if I blow, it would make big noise.
How big was that beetle's horn?
It's like 3 feet. It's pretty big. He had to have it like horizontal across the rump of his mount.
Beetle horn longsword.
Interesting. What else do you have for trade?
He proceeds to pull out all these weird kind of smelling things. There's this poultice-looking mess that he pulls out, as well as various bits of scrap metals. I feel like there was something else that he had. Let's see, here we go. They sell some sort of tobacco-like weed for smoking. He's got a couple of gems that he produces for you. He produces a couple of snakes, poisonous snakes that he just dangles out in front of you before setting them back down on the pack. And produces one of them, the large horns that has already kind of been carved into the shape of a blade.
Can I appraise the gems? Take a look at them.
Do you have the appraisal skill, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to make a check on this. These are. It's just, if you have the skill, you'll be fine getting it. These gems are. Let's see. They are fancy stones. They are, what do we call them? Alexandrite. They are dark green gemstones worth about 100 GP each. He's got
Ooh.
maybe 8 of them in his hand. Well, they're uncut. Were these to be cut down, they could probably go for 100 GP. Maybe a little bit less if you've got you got a rock this big. When you cut it down into gemstone, it's only so big. So these are uncut gemstones worth one cut probably 100 GP, uncut probably closer to 60 or 50.
Okay, so I'll ask, what do you want for stones and snakes?
The frog points to Arthur's side, where there's the saber hanging from it.
I look at Arthur.
My sword.
Steel.
I pull out 2 daggers and show them to him.
He shakes his head, pulls out a steel dagger of his own.
I pull out my arming sword.
He looks at it, gingerly takes it out of your hands to examine the blade, flips it over, makes an awkward swipe with it, hands it back to you, and gives you a nod saying, sword, and then pulls like 2 gemstones and holds them up as well.
What about the snakes?
Puts the gemstones back, grabs a whole handful of snakes.
Do I know what the snakes are?
Yes. They are They are classified as the old poison system, not the new poison system, so I gotta find the appropriate adjuster. One of these days, there's just gonna be one system for everything and not 5 systems for everything. Come on, here we go. Okay, it is... They are cobras.
Oh boy.
Which is type G on the new poison list. It takes half an hour to an hour to kick in, but it is lethal.
How many are there that he's holding up?
He's got 6 in his hand.
Ooh. I'll nod and I'll let's see, what can I hold 6 snakes in? I can put them in my backpack, I guess, but I also have a plant in the backpack, and I don't want them to eat my plant.
The snakes are dead.
Oh, they're dead. Okay.
Oh, they're dead.
So
Yeah.
I'll hold out my sword, and
He points to the scabbard.
oh yeah,
He wants that too.
Yeah.
And you guys can make a trade. You give up an arming sword, you get 6 dead cobras.
Nice. And I'll say, anything else for stones?
By now, your 2 soldiers have come into view. Looks at them. Looks at you. You're wearing armor, aren't you? Metal armor?
Yeah, I'm wearing my plate mail, chest, and chain limbs.
What are you wearing for armor, Arthur?
Pretty much the same thing.
The frog starts kind of feeling the chainmail limbs on you and gives them a tug. Armor.
Armor?
Armor.
For how many stones?
He taps his own chest area, say armor, and then taps his arms and legs. And then grabs the whole bundle of stones and holds them up.
How many's in a bundle?
I think, did I not mention before?
I think you said there were 8 or something.
I
like
think,
that.
okay, cool. 8 stones, yeah. Actually, what I just
Um,
rolled as well.
I point to my chain limbs and I say these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I start taking off my chain limbs.
As you do so, he then like taps his chest and goes, all
No, this valuable.
mm,
This
chain
protection.
armor, chest, arms, legs.
I don't have chain armor with me, but I can bring some back to you from home. I come back, find you again.
The frog
Okay.
slowly nods.
I nod back. Here? Or where?
He holds up 3 fingers and says, 5 days.
5 days here?
Holding up 3 fingers again, 5 days.
Okay, I just nod and I start putting my chain limbs back on for now.
Okay.
And I guess before we leave, I point to my tabard and I say, Rose, friends? And I hold out my hand.
He digs around in his pack and pulls out some plants, hands a few to you, and then with his other hand starts munching on the ones that he's got.
That seems. Can I make sure they're not poisonous? Since I know about poison.
Yeah, give me an herbalism check.
Okay. What's my herbalism check? Plus 15.
They're definitely not poisonous, but they're not anything you would ever eat. It'd be the equivalent of like, grabbing some pumpkin leaves
Grass.
and just munching the pumpkin leaves.
Oh, I munched the plant.
Yeah, they're a little prickly, and they taste kind of bad, but you guys share some leaves together.
Before we go, we should. Do you know, Trader? Do you know where the 8-head the den is? Where is that?
He casually points to the east.
In swamp.
Mm-hmm. Near Earth.
Earth. Hills.
Earth.
Earth. I see. Oh, thank you, trader. I'll be back in 5 days.
He again points to Arthur's sword and says, "Sword, show you.
So, show you
Give sword, I show."
where 8-head den is.
Urgh.
I looked at Arthur.
I guess I just ordered a new one, but I guess I'll need another one.
I'd suck if we fought something and he didn't have a sword. But do I have anything else? Not really. I have a pickaxe. I'll show him the pickaxe just in case.
Shakes his head.
How about I'll show him the crossbow. That's pretty cool.
He looks over it. Both. Why don't you give me a charisma check?
Ooh.
Okay, you successfully understand that he's confused.
I'll say I'll show you, and I take a bolt and I put it under the crossbow and point it at a tree somewhere, and I shoot at the tree.
It gives a loud thwang, which startles him a little bit, and then he slowly pads over to the tree and examines the bolt in the tree. Kind of takes the bolt and yanks it out. Pads back and nods.
Okay, so
Trade.
trade, and I give him the crossbow. And how many bolts do I have on me? 8 bolts. I guess 7, including the one he's holding. So
Okay. He nods, packs the crossbow and the bolts away, leaves the sword across, hops on the beetle, puts the sword across his lap, and just ribbits at you. Follow.
okay, I say okay, and I go back to my horse and get on and ride over to him.
Okay. You guys can head out and follow the frogman. And why don't we take our second break, and when we come back, we'll see what sort of trouble you can get into. You guys on
Fight
the
the
other
other
side.
Hydra.